Guys, D-Town here. I went to a regional with some Chico buddies and met up with some Discord buddies, and I ended up barely getting the invite. It was top 64 out of 562 players, and I got 63rd place. I went 7 wins, 3 losses with this deck. So let's get into it. It's kashtira. We got 3 Fenrir, 3 Unicorn, 3 Rise Heart, and a Scareclaw kashtira. Pretty traditional lineup. I like Ogre, but I don't want to play the trap, and I thought about playing Ogre solo, but I decided against it. So this is the lineup, pretty standard.
No tier cash?
No, I thought about playing that too, but if I was going to play another name, it would probably be Ogre first. I have played with tier cash, it's decent, but not for me in this list. Next, the hand traps. We have 2 Droll, 3 Ash, 3 Moonlit Chill, and 3 Shifter. So these are the monster hand traps. So Moonlit Chill plus Imper, Moonlit Chill plus Ash. I ended people's turns. I played against 3 Snake Eye / Snake Eye Fire King decks. I only lost to one of them. Imperm was MVP. Basically, if I draw 2 to 3 hand traps, I was winning that game.
These 2 don't need to go to the graveyard, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so under Shifter, these play through it. If you draw Droll and Shifter, which I barely drew Shifter at the tournament. I drew it 3 games out of close to 30 games that we played. I went to game 3 most of the time, so I think it was like 26 or 27 games. I drew this 3 times, and I lost one of the times I drew it. But if you draw this and Droll, it doesn't conflict. You just have to wait. As soon as they add on resolution, you chainlink 1 Shifter, chainlink 2 Droll. And also Droll on its own, obviously, it shuts down a lot of searching in most decks, especially Rogue, and even the meta. So these are all good. Usually, again, 2 hand traps, 2 different hand traps together, usually ended people's turns or at least made their board significantly weaker.
Yeah.
Going into the spells, we got 3 Planet, 3 Birth, 3 Theosis, 3 Prosperity, 2 Talents, and then the one-ofs, a Called By, and a Terraforming. And then last 3 Imperm. So
No desires?
no desires. I thought about putting in a 3rd Talents, and originally it was, and I didn't have Called By. But Called By is just so strong. It hits fire, it hits voiceless, it hits so many decks. Obviously, anytime you get hand trapped, if you really need it to go through, you can Call By. It hits people's engine. Snake Eye Ash, I hit one of the games, and it won me the game. It was amazing. And if it had been Talents, it would have done nothing. Because this was set and I passed. So Talents was also MVP. This card was nuts, like ripping the hand, stealing a monster. I drew a couple times with it. Every time I saw Talents, I was so happy I had it. Same thing with Called By. 3 Theosis. Sometimes I wish there was 2 instead of 3 in this, so I could draw like another non-engine card. So maybe like cut one of these for another Talents, or maybe a Thrust or something like that. But yeah, overall it was fine. And Imperm was MVP. There's a couple games where people had Talents in their hand, but they couldn't use it because I Impermed them. So that is the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. XYZs, we got Zeus. We got the Red Eyes Metal Flare Metal. We got Dada, Typhon, number 11, Mecha Beast, Dracosac, Shangira, and then so as far as the XYZs go, this guy won me a game. I couldn't kill them, but I got them down to 1600, and then I overlaid for this on the 4 summon, and I had a Fenrir in this and passed, and they couldn't beat me through 3 actions and an interruption. Dada, I used it once, it was great. Typhon only came up once, and it didn't really seem to matter, but it was nice to have. This I tried to go into Heat Soul twice, and I just got nibbed both times. But some hands you just have to go for it if your hand is not great.
It out skill drain.
So yep, and it helps with floodgates like that, like skill drain. So didn't come up, but I'm again happy to be prepared for that. And then Shang was goated. This card is amazing. Like you make it, you summon a guy on their turn to throw out an interruption, and then coming back to your turn, you throw out another guy to help OTK them. So this is MVP for sure. Going into the links, we have SP Little Knight, we have 2 Link Spiders, we have a G Golem Crystal Heart, and then Decode Talker Heat Soul. We got an Access Code and an Appaloosa. And then for the Synchro, we got a Baron. So I tried to go for the Heat Soul route, and I got nibbed both times. Some people, if they don't know that you're playing Appaloosa, they'll hold the nib for after, because they're hoping you use Birth, and then they either nib before you make this, so you don't get a draw, or they wait and you get a draw, and then they think maybe you're going to go the SP line, which you could do. But instead of making SP when you have Heat Soul and Draco Sack, you can just link them off into make Appaloosa 2 material. And that way, if they have nib, they have to have 2 hand traps at that point. But if they have just nib, now you can summon with Birth, and then if you have Theosis or Extension, you can build a bigger board. So, yeah. So I was happy I had it. Just never came up. Baron was also goated. I made Baron. I think Baron and Shang are the 2 best things in the extra deck. SP was also great. I made it a couple times, and it was awesome. So that's the extra. And then last but not least, going into the side deck. 3 summon limit.
That's nasty.
It needs to be banned. It's a great card. It won me locals today, and then at the tournament, at the regional against Voiceless, actually in round 1 was one of my losses, and I sided this in, and he was able to just play through it because all he needed to do was get low on board and get Skull Guardian. Yeah, right. So he could have the negate. So this card, don't really recommend siding it in against Voiceless, but. Against everything else, when I sided in and I saw it, it was amazing. This D-Bear is what I played today at locals, but this was Judgment. I wished it was something else. Against a couple matchups against Voiceless, if Judgment had been D-Barrier, I actually would have won. So, I don't know. Judgment's more generic, but this card hits a lot of rogue matchups and hits some of the meta as well. Hits Branded, hits Voiceless, etc. So, talents. 3rd talents and 2 Dark Ruler Amours. When I saw this one game, it was really great. This is great. I just sided in just because you want to see talents going second. Or if you're going first and they're playing a hand trap heavy deck, this is a nice card to see, especially when you get a hand rip. Or if you get Ashed on Planet and that was your only starting card, you can draw 2. And that actually happened to me. I got Ashed on only once. I got Ashed on Planet and I drew into a Unicorn and I think Shifter. But just getting to the Unicorn was great. And then next is 3 Cosmics. This card was great. And 3 DeFi. This won me the game twice against Snake Eye Fire King.
I hate this card.
So, yeah, again, another card that needs to be banned. So, all the bannable cards, we try to play them because while they're here in the format and they're great, just abuse it and play it. So, that is the side.
All right.
And that's the deck.
How'd you feel about this as a meta call?
I feel like kashtira is... It's a good pick right now because it banishes a lot, and it can afford to play cards that banish, and that plays really well into a lot of the meta. Voiceless and Fire King are slash Pure Snake Eye are the 2 most played decks, and there's a lot of other decks that are great that need the graveyard. So I think it's a really great pick. I like it over Flu. I think Flu's a good pick, but I think this is better than Flu because Flu folds to 1 to 2 interactions, and this deck generally doesn't fold that quickly, and it has cards that just add every turn, right? So, yeah, but I think it was a good pick, and I was happy. It was fun being with the boys and barely squeaking away. But shout out to Shibo for also making it. We're going to Texas, and my teammates already have their invite, so we're all going to Texas. So,
Texas.
Yes, sir. But see you guys next time, and subscribe.